Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So the World Darts Federation has issued a statement threatening disciplinary action against competitors who forfeit games who refuse to compete against trans players. So female darts player Deta Hedman bravely withdrew from a couple of matches against trans players in defense of the women's category. The reason why it's so important to her to maintain the women's category is she was around when there wasn't even a championship for women. She packed up in 1997 because she was disheartened. She returned when a women's championship was formed. So she was there from the very beginning fighting for a women's championship to exist in the first place. And now, women who stand up for female competitors may be punished by their federation for doing so. Perhaps this is why women don't refuse to participate in the first place. Perhaps this is why women don't speak up in the first place, because they know it's just a matter of time before they're punished and excluded from competing in the sports or the game that they love. So one of the people Deta refused to play is Noa-Lynn van Leuven, who plays for the Dutch team. Noa-Lynn has been playing on the women's circuit since 2022. Noa-Lynn is male, but identifies as a woman. Two female Dutch players quit the team upon Noa-Lynn joining in protest of having a male player on their team. So Anka Jilstra said the following: "The moment you're embarrassed to be part of the Dutch team because a biological man is playing in the women's team, it's time to go," she wrote. "I have tried to accept this, but I cannot condone or justify this. I think that with sports, there has to be an equal and level playing field, which is to be used and accepted in good faith. After all, we have worked so hard to be relevant and competitive in this sport." So her colleague Eileen de Graaf, in support of her, wrote the following: "At some point you have to make decisions if something goes against your feelings. You have to do what feels right for you, hence my decision to also leave the Dutch team." So here's the statement from the World Darts Federation. Ahead of an important period in the WEF calendar with regional cups, the World's Masters and the World Championships, the WDF wishes to clarify its position on player withdrawals. Once the first dart has been thrown in a tournament, any player that subsequently withdraws from playing a match may be considered to be bringing the game into disrepute and could face disciplinary action. This stance has been taken to suitably protect our member countries, their tournaments, and tournament sponsors, as well as to preserve the integrity of the WDF ranking system. So as far as I'm concerned, that is a clear threat. With all of these events coming up, we don't want any shenanigans. We don't want any women standing up for their own category. We don't want any women forfeiting and withdrawing or refusing to play a certain opponent. And yeah, perhaps there's sponsorship at stake here. There are bets, wagers on these games, and deals that may fall through if someone ends up forfeiting. Interesting how they use the word integrity when they're allowing a male player into a women's category, destroying the integrity of the women's category all at the same time. So Deta Hedman is 64. She has been playing for decades, and she's a 3-time world champion. When she first withdrew from playing Noa-Lynn, she's famously known for saying the following: "I'm not playing against a man in a women's event." So people who say, well, it's just darts, is there any advantage? It's not exactly rugby or something like that. But the point she's making is this is a women's category. There may be co-ed categories, mixed categories, but this is a women's category. So it should only be for females, for women. Once you start saying that people can join this category based on identity, then what is the purpose of the category? Why does it exist in the first place? And again, she has been in a time where women weren't taken seriously in darts, where there wasn't even a women's championship. She fought for that. And unfortunately, she's been put in a position again where she has to fight to maintain the integrity of this category. The same thing has happened in pool, another sport where people claim that it doesn't matter. But there's actually evidence to show that it does matter, that male pool players do have an advantage over the females. Heck, I don't know, in darts, the length of your arm could give you an advantage. Don't men tend to have longer arms than women? Bigger hands? that could very well give them an advantage. I don't think there's been a massive amount of study done into sports like darts and pool. Some people even question if they're sports. I guess it depends on who you talk to, but from reading the literature about all of these stories, they refer to these events as sports. So Fiona McKenna, a director at human rights charity Sex Matters, has condemned the development. As if it's not bad enough that women face unfairness, they're being forced to play or lose their future chances as well. They lose twice over. Lynn Pinches also refused to play a transgender rival last year. She found the news of the threat of disciplinary action, quote unquote, disgusting, saying, "This is darts. Punishing women for conceding a match to protect their own mental health is nothing short of disgusting. They will be disciplined so they behave like good girls." Where does it stop? We start to say, well, it should be allowed in darts, it should be allowed in pool because, you know, they aren't as physically threatening as rugby or boxing. Where does it stop? We went from they just want to pee to if you don't play against men, you'll be punished real fast, huh? Why don't women just refuse to compete with the men invading women's sports? Because women don't even have the right to say no. And that's what that statement from the World Darts Federation says. If you say no, you'll be punished. Never mind losing the game or forfeiting the game and missing out on an opportunity to advance further in the competition. That's not bad enough. On top of that, you will face disciplinary action. Now that could be a fine, that could be a ban in the next match. They weren't clear on what that would be, which makes it even more threatening. So where do we go from here? Where do the female darts players go from here when it comes to fighting for their category? Should they still continue to forfeit and face the disciplinary action, whatever that may be? Is there a line that they need to draw and say, okay, I tried, but I'm not going to jeopardize my career any further. I'm not going to jeopardize progressing any further. Or this may even cause some of them to just walk away completely. April Hutchinson recently released an open letter to the CPU, and she confirmed that she is leaving. She's not going to, represent them anymore. She chose to walk away. You're going to make me compete against a man? This is not what I signed up for, so I am going to walk away.
But I made a friend on Facebook by the name of Ann Andrus. Ann and I would talk about powerlifting, things we had in common, and we were having a conversation about Laura Hubbard. I don't know if you remember Laura Hubbard. He was the first biological male to go to the Olympics. And I was saying, well, I can't believe they let a man, compete in the women's category. And Ann said, well, you know that I'm a man, don't you? And I said, well, no, Ann, you present yourself, I thought you were a female, you're lifting in the women's category. Oh no, I'm a man, I transitioned after age of 20. And I said, well, Ann, how far do you expect to go? Or is this just like a fun thing for you? Oh no, I want to go to Worlds, I want to go all the way. And I said, Ann, if you do that, I said, first of all, it's completely unfair, and if you do that, I will raise hell. And those were my last words to Ann before he blocked and deleted me. So going forward, I sat with that a little bit in my head, give it a week, and I was like, I don't feel good about this. I just can't keep competing and not telling anyone about this, the male and the women's category. So I wrote my federation a 2-page letter outlining all the physical and mental harms that this has on women for making us basically compete against males. And my federation didn't even acknowledge my email. They didn't give me a reply or, yes, we received your email, nothing.
Remember, she was suspended for 2 years. She had to fight in court against that suspension, and it was reduced to 1 year. The decision comes from my deep commitment to fairness and integrity in women's sports. I cannot in good conscience continue to support a federation where currently 3 men, potentially more, are competing in local competitions, taking away opportunities and medals from deserving female athletes. I'm also concerned about a federation that penalises female athletes for speaking up and that lacks transparency about whether women are competing against men. So just last week, Hedman shared a post encouraging fellow players to sign a petition to support ensuring the women's category is restricted to players who were born female. Women and girls deserve fair competition in darts, and this means we need our own category, restricted to those born female. This is covered by fairness in the 2010 Equality Act. If you agree to this, would you sign the petition and supply your email address? The email address is purely to send you a short online survey on this subject. We believe a women's section in darts is hugely important for the growth of darts. Athletes Commission are fully supportive of transgender and non-binary players' inclusion in darts in open or other categories. She said, blown away by response to this at Welsh Open weekend. Over 100 emails from women and men were also queuing to sign. We'll need a full-blown online petition to cope with demand, so that's good news. Darts should have a female-only division like other sports. In the US, we can change in November. Well done, madame. You've legions of new fans from this side of the pond. This one from Texas. Keep giving them hell. Fairness speaks to fairness. Great work, Deta. Let me know what I can do to help. So this is where we're at now. It's very, very scary. And it may get to the point where women are going to have to walk away. They shouldn't have to do that though. Women should not be put in this position. And that is definitely, in no uncertain terms, excluding women from their own sports, excluding women from their own category, from their own competitions. Because you're telling us that you have to agree to these terms or you cannot participate. You don't agree to these terms, to these unfair terms, then you're going to be disciplined. If you object, you will face disciplinary action. If you say no, this is what you may face. That is a form of exclusion, and it's going to force more and more women to walk away. Because there are many women who simply cannot agree to these terms, these new terms that have been sprung upon them. The only way I can refer to this is misogyny. So let me know what you think. Share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.